Good afternoon to you. Mark Suttoth, HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for the first day of the Atlantic hurricane season, June 1st, 2015. Glad you could join me this afternoon. Let's start out taking a look at the first 10 days of the season and of the month of June in terms of where, over the last 100+ years or so, we have typically seen development take place. A few areas down here near Florida and Cuba, several more areas in the Caribbean, and just short of a half a dozen little development areas in the Gulf. June is not typically a very busy month, but it's busy enough so that it is the official start of the hurricane season. The Eastern Pacific, on the other hand, very busy this time of year, and today is no exception. This is what it looks like when we get all the way out to September. Will it be busy enough to add some more dots? Now, this isn't what's supposed to happen in any given September. Remember, this is a look back at the last 100 years or so, and every year that you have a new development during these 10-day time frames, a new dot is added for tropical storms and hurricanes. We'll have to see. The forecasts for this season are for lower than normal overall activity, so we'll have to see what happens. Nobody can tell us where what does happen to form will end up tracking, so you never know. That's why we're here, to try to educate you about it and keep you in the know. So let's start out with the sea surface temperature anomalies. I think you can clearly see the warm spike, the El Nino here in the Pacific, and that's going to do all sorts of interesting things to the global weather patterns over the next several months. Pretty pronounced area of cold water relative to average in the Atlantic, but the western Atlantic and the Gulf running quite a bit above the long-term average, and that could come into play if we have something develop and travel into and across that water. Right now, all is pretty much calm. Those were the departures from the normals or the averages. Here's what the actual sea surface temperatures look like, and as usual, the shelf water warms up very fast to the low to mid 80s, the rest of the Gulf warming up as well. No problem here in terms of supporting hurricane development water temperature wise, but the atmosphere not quite ready for a number of reasons. Same is true for the western Atlantic off the Carolinas and the mid-Atlantic and the Florida coastline down here. Water temperatures in the low 80s for the most part, except of course along the New England and mid-Atlantic states where water temps range anywhere from the low 50s to the mid 60s. But then there's the Gulf Stream coming up, very warm, 80, 81 degrees in the Gulf Stream, and right along the coast of the Carolinas, very nice if you want to go to the beach. So what's going on out there? Well, the main story is Tropical Storm Blanca. And this is important because you see here the 5-day forecast track generally aims the cone of uncertainty towards the Baja, which is right up here. And in the longer term, this could have some interesting implications for the southwest United States. Let's take a look at a satellite animation of the Eastern Pacific, and you can get an idea of what Blanca, as well as tropical storm, actually it's hurricane, pretty offensive that I call it a tropical storm because it's a powerful hurricane. There's Blanca, just a perfect outflow pattern with it, and there is very powerful Hurricane Andres. Both of these systems part of this upward motion MJO pulse that is moving across the region, providing sort of a chimney-like atmosphere where the air is very efficiently going up in the lower atmosphere and then out in a clockwise fashion in the upper part of the atmosphere. This beautiful outflow pattern, about as ideal as you can get over very, very warm water. Now, Andres really not going to be an issue. Blanca, on the other hand, could track close enough to the Baja and then make an interaction up here, and then that moisture could stream across into the southwest United States. In fact, if we look at the GFS over time, this is the, I believe, 48-hour forecast. Let me orient you on what you're looking at. This is the west coast of the United States, the Baja Peninsula, Mexico here, go around to Texas, Louisiana, Florida, the Carolinas, and so forth. See, there's the outline of a good chunk of North America. 48 hours out, there's Andres, no issues at all. Also watch over here in the Atlantic, some convergence trying to go on as pressures begin to lower, maybe a little surface trough in the region. As the week wears on, might bear watching, but nothing imminent. Just a little extra convection down in the Caribbean. By 72 hours, there's Andres out there, really not bothering anybody. Pretty good increase in shower and thunderstorm activity across the Caribbean and parts of the Bahamas. As we skip ahead here, I believe this is day 5, 120 hours out. The GFS indicating that we do get a tropical system developing somewhere in the vicinity of the Bahamas from this weak area of, I guess you could best call it surface troughiness that's supposed to develop. And then this MJO pulse coming across could help to foster that with better upward motion, meaning basically less wind shear in the atmosphere. But then look here at day 5, that's the northern reach of Blanca trying to come into the frame here. And if I skip ahead to day 7, there it is along the Baja. This is 7 days out. And so Blanca could easily just turn out like this. It could come in more towards the coast like that, or anywhere in between. But the point is, you folks along the Baja certainly want to watch this. If for anything, just the increase in moisture, torrential rain. But notice how this moisture gets pulled up into the southwest United States. We certainly don't need it over in this area, not at all. Maybe some beneficial rains out to the southwest. Typically we don't see this until September and October, maybe August. But sometimes in June these storms can wander into the Baja. So again, you folks are going to want to watch that closely. And then check out what's going on here well off the mid-Atlantic coast. Whatever develops down here seems to wind its way up towards that very, very warm water that's sitting out there. This is a week away. We'll have to see what happens. There's no mention of it yet on the National Hurricane Center's graphical tropical weather outlook that goes out to 5 days now experimentally. But that might change in the coming days. The bottom line, it's hurricane season in the Atlantic. Already been hurricane season in the Pacific for a couple of weeks, the Eastern Pacific that is, and things are very busy. We have Andres and Blanca and maybe some development, though pretty inconsequential in the Atlantic to watch over the next several days, and that's what we'll do. So that is it from me for today. I'll be back one more time this week. I will be heading out to Texas on Wednesday. So Wednesday morning before I depart, I'll cut another video blog and post it. I'm going to be participating in the hurricane workshop, the Ready or Not Hurricane Workshop in Houston, Galveston area this weekend. And then we're on to Texas, my team and I, to test our weather balloon. It's called Hurby, H-U-R-R-B, for the Hurricane Research Balloon Project in Amarillo, Texas on Monday. Be sure to check out the HurricaneTrack.com blog on Wednesday for details about that and the Hurricane Expo coming up this weekend. Busy times here, even though the tropics, at least in the Atlantic, aren't too busy. We got to be ready for when they do get busy, if and when, right? Have a good rest of your Monday. Thanks again for tuning in. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com, Hurricane Pro in HD. I'll talk to you again on Wednesday.